Welcome to Casual Compliance, a show about the philosophy and culture of Commander, guided by the banlist. My name's Grams.
My name's Chili Bin.
And this week, we're talking about Hullbreacher!
Hullbreacher.
Yes!
I'm here to breach some hulls, baby.
Everyone thought this card was getting unbanned.
I know.
And then it didn't.
Saw a lot of chat.
So we're going to talk about it today.
Wait. What am I thinking of? Hullbreacher Horror? That's a legal card, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Already sidetracking this episode.
Set
Please,
full 40k.
Just tell me about Hullbreacher. What's going on with this?
Look up Hullbreacher.
What's going on with this card?
We're like, we're going to fix this by making it faster and immediately get derailed. Hullbreacher is a 3-cost, 2 and a blue creature, merfolk, pirate. Okay. Not legendary.
Great.
It's got flash.
Okay. I'm already worried.
3-cost, blue, flash.
Yep.
If an opponent would draw a card, except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, instead, you create a treasure token.
That's a crazy replacement effect, dude.
And just in case people didn't know, it's an artifact with tap sacrifice. This artifact had 1 mana of any color. It's in parentheticals and italics, so I have to whisper it. In the flavor text, I don't need a map to find riches.
No, you just need other people to be doing anything.
Exactly, and I'll breach their hull.
Yeah. Okay, Hullbreacher.
This is resource denial. It's not because you still get your first draw, so it's not stopping you from having your first draw.
Yeah,
but it's stopping you from doing other draws. I would want this
because this is also like if you were to draw a card on someone else's turn.
Yeah, it stops you from doing that.
Yeah, and you get a treasure, and this is in blue, which can trigger a lot of card draw. So, like, if you were, say, like, my Ian Malcolm is it deck, for example. Like, the whole point of that deck is I'm going to make everyone draw cards because every time you draw 2 in a single turn, some stuff happens, right?
Well, this would shut that off.
I know.
Yeah.
But, like, that deck is full of cards that make other people draw, and they're very cheap because you're giving your opponents resources, so they're undercosted like shit.
Yeah.
And so this is just a really cheap way
to get a lot of treasures.
Then
you get is Metallurgic Summon the one where you have 8 of the one kind of
mechanized production? Yeah,
they're right next to each other in my Mythic binder, so I get those off.
Also, before when I said Hullbreacher Horror, I think I was thinking of Hullbreaker Horror. I think that's actually what it's called.
Yeah, I think that sounds more familiar to me.
They're just very similar.
Yeah, because I'm interested. I'm immediately thinking about the biggest pain in the ass that's ever existed in Magic the Gathering is finally about to rotate out of standard. Sheoldred the Apocalypse.
Oh, dude, yeah, okay.
This shuts down Sheoldred, except for your first draw per turn, clearly.
It turns it off because you're not drawing the card, so you don't lose the life.
Exactly. Well, only opponents. So this is kind of group hug against Sheoldred.
That's a stretch, and you know it. Calling any combo of Sheoldred and Hullbreacher group hug is insane.
Put Sheoldred and Hullbreacher in your Thoracle decks, man.
No,
sick.
dude.
I don't know. It's an interesting resource denial. It's asymmetrical because it only targets opponents.
Yeah.
So you're not denying yourself with a resource. So if you had ways to do everyone gets to draw, which I believe is, like you said, undercosted, then you're the only person getting the benefit twice because you're getting treasure tokens for their draws.
Yeah.
And you're getting your resources that
you're getting to draw cards.
I guess.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a bad thing.
You want to know what's a bad thing? You know every degenerate motherfucker running a Quain deck?
Yeah.
This goes in every one of them.
Yeah.
It's like, everyone's going to draw a card. That wasn't the first of your turn. I'm going to get to draw a card and 3 treasures off of a Quain activation.
Yeah.
On my turn.
You know what? Every motherfucker in the Quain deck also has that more people should be playing? Targeted removal. Okay. Swords to Plowshare. Path to Exile.
Yeah. It's not an episode of Casual Compliance if you don't try to justify unbanning a card because removal exists.
2 blue, counter spell, counter target spell.
We can't keep doing this.
Done. Essence scatter, 1 and a blue.
Not like this.
Counter target creature spell. Let's go on to research. We already know he thinks it can't be unbanned at this point.
Yeah. Sorry, the double negative confused me. Yes, keep this shit banned. I don't want to see this ever.
I think it could be a game changer in my opinion. Let's go about it.
And now for a special message from us.
Hey, do you disagree with something that I said on the show? Do you think that dual loaders should be unbanned and that I should shut the fuck up? Well, why don't you go to casualcompliance.fun, get into our Discord through one of our many tiers where you can support us, and then tell me I'm wrong.
That's right. You have to pay for the privilege to tell us to fuck off.
Well, you could also comment on our YouTube videos. That will still be free.
That's true.
But if you want immediate response from us within 2 business days, Discord's where it's at. Casualcompliance.fun. Come and pay to tell me that I'm a cuck. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
We're talking about Hullbreacher.
My brain was not ready.
We're not talking about Hullbreacher horror. That's a different episode.
Yep.
We're talking about Hullbreacher. Just to remind you about the card, it's a 2 and a blue creature, merfolk pirate. It's got flash. I just don't think this card needs flash. If an opponent would draw a card except for the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, instead you create a treasure token.
You know why it has flash?
Why does it have
If
flash?
someone like plays a spell that lets them draw a whole ton of cards, you flash this in.
You know when you draw half your deck.
Yeah, and then you would just generate a ton of treasure.
Oh,
That's actually kind of. I think it having flash is kind of fun.
I like that. Okay, you know what? You've inspired me. So this card,
But it's bad.
this card was printed in 2020 November, which looks like it must have been when Commander Masters came out. Because I'm pretty sure
Commander Legends.
Yeah, Commander Legends. CMR.
Yeah.
Commander Legends came out.
Yeah.
And then it was banned just under a year later.
Wow.
Hullbreacher creates an environment of asymmetrical resource denial, like I said, in the early game. Because it's, you can play this on turn 2.
Yeah.
With Soul Ring. Fuck, I didn't think
Dude.
shit. There goes my argument. Its ability easily combines with several other cards to strip opponents' hands and keep them empty. This creates an environment where players don't have agency, but doesn't outright end the game. I disagree with that. Combined with its easy splash ability, it was an attractive and popular card to include in decks that were played in environments that couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Now, that's from the Commander website, so that was from the initial banned reason.
Yeah, what you said has just made me think of another card, which I'm bringing up. It's fine.
And this one's from Gavin Verhey. This is an incredibly unfun card that stifled a popular part of Commander, spiked the popularity of wheel effects, and made an outrageous number of treasure tokens. There is a theoretical there is a theoretical rejiggering of brackets where you could tell me this is acceptable, but I wouldn't expect it, and certainly not with the brackets as they are now.
Interesting.
Now, I completely disagree with this last point.
Right. I'm not even sure what that would look like.
Hey, Aaron, fire Gavin. Don't do that, Aaron. No. We like Gavin a lot.
Yeah, Gavin's great.
We love Gavin.
That just took a real unhinged turn I was not prepared for on a Saturday morning.
It is 10 o'clock Saturday morning, and Gramps is again called for Gavin Verhey. I disagree. I think that the brackets and the game changer list as it exists is perfect for this card. Because, again, they're not prescriptive. They're a guide where we're getting each other to talk about our decks.
Yeah.
And yes, we know it's 54% of people on LFGs are using brackets as their ways of measuring, which is a majority, depending on which government structure that you focus under.
It's more than 50%. It's a majority.
It was majority. But that's a big callback. But the way the brackets are at the moment, this card I think would be perfect in CDH. Now, he's not wrong. This did popularize wheel effects.
Yeah.
But this card would be perfect in CDH and is good for the game changer list. We'll get to yours, but we're going to do one of those ones where I would like to start.
I just think if you're trying to lean in the direction of unban it just for bracket 5, that's already failing.
I'm not unbanning it for bracket 5. I'm banning it for bracket 4 and 5.
Yeah.
So the top brackets.
Yeah, but we know that you can have 3 game changes in bracket 3 according to the way the system is currently described, and also people not playing with brackets can just fucking run this if you unban it.
Yeah, but it's probably very widely accepted that we are very much focusing on brackets.
I know, but like we wouldn't be unbanning this into a vacuum. It's not just brackets that we have to think about.
You thinking about everyone, me thinking about only the people I want to play Magic with.
Yeah, like, yes, but we are looking at the culture and the philosophy of the format as a whole.
Well, let's look at some stuff that's unbanned for everyone then, not just for brackets. But I'm going to look at the Game Changer list, which is for everyone. Jin Gataxia's Core Augur exists. Now, this is quite an expensive card. It's 8 in a blue, but as we know, in blue, quite easy to get access to treasure tokens and the rest of the mana. Flash.
Cool.
Just like Hullbreacher.
Okay, go on.
At the beginning of your end step, draw 7 cards.
Okay.
Each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 7.
Yeah, that's nasty.
So that exists. That's on the Game Changer list. But that is more than just resource denial.
Yes.
You can still draw your cards.
Like, comparing it to Hullbreacher, you can still, on your turn, draw a card. And, like, you're basically operating with a hand size of 1.
0.
Well, no, during your turn, it doesn't matter. It's when you get to end step, you got to throw them away. So if you had an effect that you draw a bunch, it's like, well, can you use all of them this turn?
And that's the reason why I think this card is worse than Hullbreacher. Because Hullbreacher, if you would do extra draws, you just get a treasure token and my shit doesn't end up in the graveyard.
Yeah, but you don't get to draw.
Exactly.
So you can't play Magic.
So with this, I'm drawing. But with this, I'm drawing.
Yeah.
And if I don't have the resources, especially if this is out early, which it can be done, I'm drawing, not being able to do anything with it, and then, unless I get a reliquary tower out of all that draw that I've got while this is on the opponent's board. It's pure. This is mass resource denial, basically. Like it's in terms of the draw.
Yeah.
Like you're getting your draw, you're just not. Then your cards are going straight to the graveyard.
I mean, because like if Jin Gataxias is out and you've got mana, like you can play Magic.
You can, yes, and you would be able to remove the card. You're correct. Well, with Hullbreacher, you're drawing the first card. And speaking of drawing the first card, what about a really fun card called Orcish Bowmasters? That's still legal in the format and is cheaper.
Yeah,
and also has flash.
Yeah.
Why? Why do all of these cards have flash? When Orcish Bowmasters, it's 1 and a black. It's just a creature, orc, archer. When Orcish Bowmasters enters the battlefield and whenever an opponent draws a card, except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, as with Hullbreacher, it deals 1 damage to any target, which is better than just target opponent, and then amass Orcs 1. That's like...
There's a lot.
You still get your
that card
draw.
Does a lot.
You still get your resource. Why is this still allowed?
It's not a game changer, is it?
It is a game changer.
Oh, it is.
Yes,
yeah,
but,
I thought so.
But if you want to be really mad, it was only just put on the game changer list.
Yeah, I know.
And my final point is another. So all of these are game changers.
Yeah.
My final point is one that was printed in a commander deck, and then was also printed in Middle Earth, in the same space that has Orcish Bowmasters. Notion Thief. 2 blue-black.
Yeah.
Creature, human rogue. Flash!
Yes.
Why? If an opponent would draw a card except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, instead, that player skips that draw and you draw a card. That's better! That's better than Hullbreacher!
I have Notion Thief up as an example as well.
But it's better!
So
I'm getting your resource.
To answer your question about why they have flash, like I said before, if you're about to pop off and draw a bunch of cards, it's a way for you to like
respond to that.
It's good game design for you to be able to interrupt that and go, actually, I'll have that.
And it's brilliant. It's a new consistency I've now noticed.
Yeah.
Like it's just what is happening when they're designing, and now it looks like every time they're designing to interrupt someone from drawing a million cards.
Yeah. Because like Orcish Bowmasters, it lets you draw them, but then you just get to ping a bunch of damage off.
I'm going to do all the damage there. Yeah. Oh, you're about to draw 40 cards? Here's my Orcish Bowmasters.
But
draw your 40
the
cards.
challenge is when those are combined with, I'm going to play an effect that makes you draw a lot of cards.
Yeah.
And then I get to then deal a bunch of damage out or whatever.
But that exists in the format. I don't think that Hullbreacher is any different to these 3 cards.
I think, it's just that, like, denying the card draw is one thing. It's also giving you treasure.
Yeah.
And so, like, you will just take off either way. Like, the way Hullbreacher looks, it's just like, cool, I'm going to stop you from drawing all those cards, but also I'm going to profit massively, and now I've got way more mana available to me in this moment than anyone else.
I also thought of a really good way to respond to it is just by turning into a 1/1 citizen. That legitimate
business person.
Just turn him into a legitimate business person.
I can't remember the name of the card that does that.
Yeah, I can't
It's
find
fine.
it. Oh, well.
It's fine.
Well, so I just there are cards that are doing similar things that are in the game changer list already. So they're cards that Wizards wants us to talk about.
Yes.
Because it affects the way you're playing the game. I think Hullbreacher also fits in that where if you're sitting down and you tell me you've got a Hullbreacher in your deck, but you're also telling me that it's a 3 because you can have 3 game changers in it, I'm going to be like,
I've got Hullbreacher, Notion Thief, and I don't know, Jin Gitaxias.
I've got a Hullbreacher, Notion Thief, and Orcish Bowmasters, and the first thing you say to them is, you can't stack those effects. They're replacement effects.
I'm just going
to have to pick which one you want.
The first thing I'm going to say is, I don't want to play this game.
Yeah, I brought Dominion.
Yeah. Sorry, I brought Monopoly. That would be a better time.
I think this could be a game changer.
Yeah. So like your point about Notion Thief. I think like Notion Thief is almost Hullbreacher in my mind.
Yeah.
Like Notion Thief is saying like you're not going to draw that card. I am. But that doesn't give you extra mana to be able to play it. It's just saying like, you just get a bunch of cards. You still need to find a way to pay for those effects. Whereas Hullbreacher is like, also here's a bunch of mana.
Yeah. Thanks for all the free mana, and you don't get your resource.
Yeah. But things I went looking for is in that vein of like ways that this would interact with other cards in a pretty negative way. A card that could be your commander, for example, in mono blue, for 2 blue mana, is a legendary spirit. It's a 1/3. It is Kami of the Crescent Moon.
Yeah, rad card.
At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card.
Oh, group hug.
End of sentence. That's it. So this plus Hullbreacher is just like, I'm just going to be way ahead of everybody, actually, because I'm going to be drawing 2.
Yep.
Everybody else is only drawing 1, but I'm getting a treasure off of every player.
Yep.
So I'm going to start my, get this out, like turn 2, turn 3, you've got both those pieces down.
Yeah.
Like, you're coming around with, like, 2-3 extra cards and fucking 3 extra mana than you would have had otherwise.
Yeah, you could have them both down, turn
2, 3, something like that.
No, easy, like, Island, Soul Ring, boring Arcane Signet, not Static Orb.
You could probably do some like high tide shenanigans, like
not defense group, but like Island, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and then next turn another Island down. Yeah.
You could.
Done.
Yeah, you could do that. But those are both quite cheap cards, is my point. And then I went looking, I mentioned my Ian Malcolm deck earlier. I went and actually just looked at that deck list to remind myself some of those like cheaper card draw effects. For a single blue, mine's Aglow. It is a sorcery with join forces. Starting with you, each player may pay any amount of mana. Each player draws X cards, where X is a total amount of mana paid this way. So if I pay 1 blue to cast this, and then I put like 2 mana into it, everybody is going to draw at least 2 cards.
Yeah.
And so that is going to pay itself off.
Exactly.
I'm going to get the treasure back from Hullbreacher, and I'm going to get 2 cards.
Yeah.
Like, sure, everybody else will get no cards.
No cards,
actually,
they don't get anything. No one gets anything,
Yeah. So I'm going to get what? So yeah, mine's Aglow for 1 blue. Even if I put 1 mana into that, I'm going to get 1 card, and I'm going to get 1, 2, 3 treasures.
Yeah.
That's crazy value.
Yeah. And if we're forcing people to wheel, we're all discarding 7 cards, but I'm drawing 7 and then getting 21 treasure tokens.
Yeah.
If you have 7 cards in hand. Oh no, because it's just wheel is discard your hand, draw 7 cards. It's not draw that many cards.
I've got some stuff. I've got a wheel effect that I will talk about in a sec because it's funny. A card called Skyscribing.
Yep.
X blue for a sorcery that says each player draws X cards, but it has an extra thing. It has the forecast keyword. So it is a thing that you can activate only during your upkeep and only once each turn. You pay 2 and a blue and you reveal it from your hand. That's the cost.
Yeah.
Each player draws a card.
Yeah.
So you can do this on your upkeep, make everybody draw a card.
Yeah.
You can do that every turn because you activate it from your hand in your upkeep.
Yeah.
So that's you pay 3 mana, you get 3 treasures. So like it's it's free. It's net 0.
Yeah. How many times can you do that?
Once a turn in your upkeep.
Yeah.
But that's just, I don't know, like you could probably find a way to
just do it every turn.
Yeah, you got something down that lets you like a token doubler or something stupid.
Exactly.
Like of course you'd do that. A weird old card, Vision Skynes, 1 and a blue for an instant.
Skynes?
Skeins. I don't know how.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. 1 and a blue for an instant. Each player draws 2 cards.
Huh.
So I'm going to draw 2 and get 6 treasures.
Thanks for the treasure tokens. I appreciate that. That is super fucking cheap.
Yeah.
That's super cheap auto.
Yeah. The one that made me laugh the most when I was looking through this deck list and go, okay, how would this Ian Malcolm deck list run in the context of Hullbreacher was Horn of Greed. 3-cost artifact that says whenever a player plays a land, that player draws a card. Yeah. So essentially what that amounts to is opponent landfall trigger, I get a treasure.
Yep. Yep. Enjoy your landfall. Thanks for the treasure.
Yeah, you don't get a card, I get a treasure.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, the other thing as well, I guess, we all know that drawing is one of the most sought after resources in Magic. When you're doing your draft, you look for your draw cards.
Yeah, one of my favorite tags to use with Scryfall is, I think it's repeatable draw.
Yeah.
So if you want to use this, the Scryfall syntax is O-tag : repeatable - draw. But that'll give you like essentially permanents that let you draw cards.
Yeah.
So it's not just like a play a spell, get some cards. It's like, it'll
ways on the board.
It'll be a thing that's like tap to draw a card, some shit like that.
Yeah. Would that be like a Thassa's Bident kind of situation as well? Yeah. Swing the creatures, draw for every time you attack.
Yeah.
For every creature that does
anything that like you can reuse that effect to draw cards. That's one of my favorite searches.
And like it's the thing I got feedback the most when I had my Slivers deck. It's like, where's the card draw on this? I'm like, it's Slivers.
Yeah, it's just full of slivers.
It's Cascade.
It's 40 slivers. Leave me alone.
It's 44 slivers, and if I have them in my hand, I can't cascade into them. So,
but the last one I pulled out that you said something earlier that made me think this is actually really funny.
Shit.
A 4-cost artifact called Teferi's Puzzle Box.
Oh.
At the beginning of each player's draw step,
what have I done?
That player puts the cards in their hand on the bottom of their library in any order, then draws that many cards.
Oh. Fuck. Oh, shit.
So assuming they got 7 cards in hand, 7 cards go to the bottom of the library. You would then draw the first card because that's the first card of your turn, and then the remaining 6 are treasures for me. And that's it.
Look, I'm just trying to find a list of cards that I can put, like, because the card that's right under Hullbreacher in this command ban list as well, I also want unbanned, because I just want a list of cards I can put in a Loro.
Okay.
So when I do get to play it once a year, the other people at the table don't get to play Magic. For 3 hours.
I'm going to pull out the Stacks deck, and I'm going to hand you a regular deck of playing cards and the rules to Solitaire.
You enjoy Solitaire.
Yeah, you go over there.
Just tell me when you pass your turn.
I'm going to give you my old iPod Touch that has Angry Birds on it. Have fun.
It's got Flappy Bird. I sold this for $1,200 on eBay.
Somehow still got Flappy Bird in the year 2025. What the fuck?
Oh, shit.
So yeah, ultimately I think like Hullbreacher itself, very cheap.
Very cheap.
And all of the effects that make it really terrible, also quite cheap, it turns out, because what you're doing is giving other people resources, and that's generally something you don't want to do when you're playing a game against someone.
Group hug is always cheaper.
Yeah. So it becomes an effect that's quite easy to abuse.
Well, I think...
And also, as I showed, a lot of them will at least pay themselves off, if not net profit, when you're in a 4-player game.
Well, I've just seen something new as well on the Scryfall. I've got Notion Thief open in Scryfall. Okay. In Commander, it says legal/GC.
Yeah.
So it actually tells you if it's game changing now, which is really nice.
You can also search by going... is:"game-changer," and it will just bring up the list of game changes.
Sam Reich's face.
That'd be such a good Easter egg.
Yeah. Look, something that is really interesting to me is always the costing of cards. Why I really love Drive to Work, that podcast, because they talk about the dials of which they have to do costing, and then the effects, and then they can balance that out or try to. Hullbreacher came after Notion Thief.
Right.
So they already had a cost for an effect like this where I deny you your resource and I get a resource.
Yeah.
And then they made a cheaper, more efficient one, which makes you kind of wonder why.
Well, yeah, this is like the same... because what was the time difference between the two in terms of like initial printings. Yeah.
Years.
So that could have just been informed by power creep over the years of like, oh, we'll take one off the cost.
Because Dragon's Maze, DGM, because I got that fucking locked in here. Was what? The fuck is that? Old Borders. You can't see the numbers sometimes. 2013 was Dragon's Maze.
Right.
And so Barol being printed in 2020, 7 years later. Not Barol.
Hullbreacher?
Yeah, Hullbreacher. Barol is similar cost, different effect. Hullbreacher. Fucking Hullbreacher being printed 7 years after Notion Thief does look like a reaction, but it looks like they had the perfect costing for an effect like this, which is it needs to be in 2 colors.
Right.
Because 2 colors is already a dial. If something costs 1 color, it's way more of a utility and way easier to access. Now, we all know, you've got dual lands and triomes and all that stuff.
Sure, but you've also got things like Caged Sun that will say when you tap a land for mana, you get an extra 1 of what it produced.
Of that color.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if it's blue and a black, you need both mana resources.
Yeah.
If you're running a Gruul deck where you need basic forests and you have basic forests, but you put none of them down, and then you play a Blood Moon, so you can't play your Borborygmos Enraged, even though you have 9 lands on the battlefield.
Still so funny.
Extra color is really important. So Notion Thief being 4 sounds like the right amount of mana it should cost, and the extra black pip being really important in there, whereas this is 3 cost and 1 pip.
It's 2 and a blue. Yeah.
Exactly. The cost is really
That's an island and a Sol Ring.
That's an island and a Sol Ring. Done.
Yep.
Whereas with Notion Thief, it's just an island and a Dark Ritual and a Sol Ring.
No, island and a Dark Ritual, dude.
Yeah, true.
Oh, you need to pay for the Dark Ritual, I guess.
So,
but whatever. You get it.
You also can't play Dark Ritual with an island. It costs 1 black. This is so people can get mad at me on the internet.
Yeah.
Look, I think that hey Gavin, I agree with you. I think if we rejig the way the brackets work a little bit, Barol, why
You're
Barol?
doing it again.
Why is Barol? Is Barol a fucking? Is Barol
Barol Chief of Compliance?
Yeah, is Barol a merfolk, or am I just fully way off?
Barol, Chief of Compliance, 1 and a blue. For a legendary human wizard, instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever a spell or ability you control counters a spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Not even close.
Why is this on my mind?
Not even fucking close, dude.
What is wrong with me? If Hullbreacher,
Yep.
2 and a blue, flash,
Yep.
some other bullshit.
Yeah.
Because again, I stand by Orcish Bowmasters is categorically worse.
It's bad. But to my point before, like the fact that this can net you so many treasures, it gives you the ability to play a lot more.
Yeah.
Whereas Orcish is just like, yeah, I'll get to do some damage and get some orcs. Sure, that's great.
And this is where I think the argument that it does a lot without, and this is what I said about the ban reason, the initial ban reason, just going back to the ban reason for a sec, is it doesn't...
Asymmetric?
We asymmetrical is definitely correct, but this creates an environment where players don't have agency. That is correct. I agree. But doesn't outright end the game, I disagree with. I think in the same way, in this argument, there were people that were unhappy and people that were happy with my comment about board wipes.
Oh, right, yeah.
Similarly,
I love talking about board wipes.
If you are playing Hullbreacher without, in a way, and it's not going to end the game, it's just stacksy and no one's having fun, that says something about you and the way you want to play Magic, and you will have a group like that.
You will find those people.
You will find those people. When I say not fun, I don't mean in a bad way. I mean in a way that it's quick Magic and it's just play to win, not play to be social, which is CDH.
Yeah.
Is my understanding.
Towards that end of things,
Towards that
at
end of the
least,
spectrum. So it does have its place in existence. I don't think we should just have a CDH ban list.
No.
But
and even CEDH people don't want that.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's this case where maybe a rejig would work. But I think playing this and not having an intent to win says something about you, not about your deck building, not about the card.
Yeah, I don't know.
This to me is like that bad actors clause where they say we can't phase out all bad actors. But I do understand why it is and should remain banned at the moment.
The thing to me is like if Notion Thief was someone's game changer in their deck and they revealed it and said like, I've got this and it's mildly stacks. It sounds shit.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, you're just going to draw extra cards. Like, what are you doing to be able to play those? Like, because you're going to be drawing those cards not on your turn.
Yeah.
So unless you've got Vidalcan Orrery, whatever the fuck, Give Things Flash, Leyline of Anticipation, these fucking Invisalign anticipation, Leyline of Anticipation.
I'm Sean Connery, and I'm here to talk about Leyline of Anticipation.
Oh, Batman.
Batman?
Bane. I don't know why I went there.
Parole?
You were merely born in the card drawer. What was I fucking saying, dude?
Notion thief.
Notion thief. Yeah. So like, it's like, yeah, great. You'll get to draw a bunch of cards, and then you might see the pieces coming together more slowly over the course of the game. Of like, oh, that's how you're going to play around not being like drawing cards not on your turn.
Yeah.
Whereas Hullbreacher was like, oh, you've just got a ton of mana. Maybe you've got activated abilities. You've got a ton of stuff on board. It's like, well, it's going to get out of hand a lot faster, I feel like.
Yes. Yeah. And,
all those extra treasures are just crazy.
And there's board wipes don't go to treasures. You'd have to, get...
Farewell.
Yeah. Farewell. You'd have to play a farewell. And this means legitimate. If unbanning Hullbreacher means legitimizing farewell, then keep it banned.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, we don't want more reason to keep farewell. Dude, get that shit out of here. What are we doing?
So this one stays on the ban list. Good job, Commander Format Panel, for keeping it banned.
Yeah.
Sorry to the dude who bought 200 of them speculating.
I'm not sorry. That's a shitty idea. Are you kidding? Sorry, if you think a card's going to get unbanned and you go buy 200 of them on that assumption, you're an idiot.
Yeah, that's why I bought 4,000 fast bonds.
That's a bad investment.
It's only $400, man. That's 50 cents. It's $200. Fast bond's a good card. Okay?
Did we learn nothing from Beanie Babies?
We learned nothing.
They made a fucking documentary about it.
We clearly didn't. Anyway, I've been Grams.
I've been Chili Bin.
Go to casualcompliance.fun for all the fun of casual and compliance.
It's a hot new web destination.